what is the vagus nerve? Why is it important for us to know what it is? And how does it actually relate to something like a cancer diagnosis showing up in our lives?
Yeah, definitely a great place to start. It is a very important nerve, and I will share exactly how it relates to anybody trying to heal from cancer. But let's just give a brief overview. The vagus nerve is the 10th cranial nerve. It connects brainstem to the body, and essentially it's huge because it innervates most of the internal organs within our chest abdominal cavity. So when you think about what that means, is you've got this one nerve connecting to all of those different organs. So your heart, your lungs, your spleen, your pancreas, your thymus, your liver, your small intestine, 2/3 of the large intestine. So now you think about what happens if something goes wrong with that nerve. So you're going to have a knock-on effect on all of those different organs and systems. So really, just to kind of take a step back of where this nerve fits with everything else, it's part of the autonomic nervous system. So within the autonomic nervous system, we've got our sympathetic, which is the fight and flight, and then we've got our parasympathetic. Now, really, essentially, we've got two vagus nerves. And so we've got the old vagus, which is the dorsal vagus complex, and people will know it as the freeze response. That's basically what initiates the freeze response. And then we've got our rest, digest, detoxify, and heal response. And that's the new vagus, that's our ventral vagus complex. And so what else I can say about the new vagus, it's that it's also a social engagement system. And when we when it works well, it means that we can self-regulate really well. We can be very good in terms of discerning whether something is indeed a threat or it isn't a threat. We can pretty much read people's facial expressions very well, and so on and so on. Now, when this nerve doesn't work well, apart from the fact that it's got this massive impact on our physiology because of all the connections to the different organs and systems, what it also means is that people tend to be a little bit less able to discern what actually is a threat and what isn't a threat. And if you think about it, that's quite important, because if you don't have a good way of telling if somebody or something is indeed a real threat, then you're going to kick in this, the stress response will kick in because you're going to think something is a threat when it's actually not a threat. The same with people's facial expressions. You could have somebody coming towards you and they have a funny expression on their face because maybe their back hurts, but you're going to jump straight away to conclusions that they're, maybe they're looking at you funny, or maybe there's some threat to you. And therefore, again, you're going to cause this sympathetic activation and the stress response activation. So that's actually quite important from that point of view. And what is critical to understand is that in order to heal anything, in order to heal and regenerate, which is obviously what the body does all the time, it does, provided that it's able to do it. In order for healing and regeneration to take place in the body, we do need to be in that rest, digest, detoxify, and heal response. If we are in fight or flight, or if we are in freeze, we are not able to heal. Healing is not priority. Those are survival states, and healing is not priority when we're in those states. So now think about this. Most people spend most of their time every single day in some sort of activation, either in fight or flight, or if they've had, for instance, chronic illness for a long time, they may actually spend a lot of time in freeze response. And essentially, in order for the body and the organs and the whole system to function properly, we actually need to be spending 80-90% of our time in rest, digest, detoxify, and heal. Yet most people do the exact opposite. Now, this is not judgment or criticism. It's it happens because of loads of different things that contribute to that. There's loads of different factors. Obviously, there's things like unresolved trauma, there's everyday stress, but let's not forget that stresses are not just emotional. We also have chemical stresses, we've got biological stresses, we have physical, mechanical stresses, we have EMFs. So all of those stresses essentially overload the nervous system and cause what is going to essentially become an imbalance. And if we have that imbalance between the sympathetic and parasympathetic, then all of those organs and systems that I mentioned are going to be negatively affected. And we're going to have issues with inflammation, we're going to have gut issues, we're going to have detox issues because the liver and gallbladder are not working properly, and so on and so on. So that's basically really the overall what the vagus nerve does and why it's so important.